Hey everyone, so I'm Rob. I'm over here from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. I come around doing these kind of events just because I'm very enthusiastic about making cool stuff with the Pi. I love what we do. I also went through the ICT system where I know it wasn't the same for everyone, but for me it was kind of quite uninspiring. It was basically a sales pitch of Microsoft Office products. And I'm very passionate about showing kids that actually computer science isn't just about doing bubble sorts for the sake of it or making a turtle move around a screen. It's about having Nerf guns which you've got face tracking via webcam. It's about taking pictures of the upper atmosphere, and it's about doing fun stuff just because we can. Who here has a Raspberry Pi? Awesome. Who here bought their Raspberry Pi or at least tried to at 6 AM on launch day? Oh, there we go. That's a true hardcore audience right there. I feel very sorry for you. Yes, it's kind of good. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind ride, to be honest. I was one of the first engineering employees, and I've been involved in it for quite a long time. My first involvement with the Raspberry Pi was when I went to go work as an intern for Eben at 18 over at Broadcom. And one of the great things about computer science is that you get good internships. So you go and do law or something and you end up making the coffee. You go and do computer science and you end up designing sort of pre-prototypes of Raspberry Pi, because that's how it works. And the great thing about that is Eben was already by this point had this idea of what he wanted to do. He'd already recognized that there was this need to get more people signing up for computer science. He recognized that there was this lack of skills, this lack of applicants, and he really wanted to go and do something about that. And essentially, the problem is that Eben's generation, when they wanted to play a video game, he'd go to the newsagents, he'd buy a magazine, he'd flick through the pages to find one he liked, go home, type the code in, and run it. The full process of how that game got onto his screen was actually understood. He'd done some in the command line, he'd seen a computer, he had some concept. If you contrast that with today, where most kids, sure, they can play games on things like iPads, but it's all abstracted away. I actually had the opportunity to go and speak over at Apple in September, and they're saying that what they're trying to do with the iPad is to make computing invisible. They don't want you to even know you're using a computer. It's about you and the digital content. They want to deliver that as effectively as possible, and in order to do that, they don't want any obstacles. They want to abstract everything away to the point that it's entirely transparent. It's you and the content. Now, that's fantastic from an education point of view if what you want to do is deliver digital content. Sure, that makes a lot of sense. The problem is, if we're deliberately hiding computers and computer systems from kids, then how are we ever going to inspire them that they should be playing with them? If what we're doing is abstracting it all away and making everything very easy to use, so they don't have to actually pick up any techniques, they don't have to understand it, then why are they going to bother? We need to make sure that we keep these low-level skills. There was a great question before talking about, well, shouldn't we just be teaching all of our kids to design websites and to do web apps? Well, the problem is that we have a generation of kids who, sure, they understand how websites work, they understand how to go and do that kind of stuff. But you actually get out a PCB and ask them to name the components, and they have no idea what's on there. I've met computer science students who couldn't point out a resistor or a capacitor on the Raspberry Pi, right? And it's because this has all been abstracted away. It's all hidden. It's technology we use, but we just don't actually ever look underneath the shell. When you think about it, most of us have grown up with games consoles. The Xbox 360 has a higher performance in terms of floating point operations per second than a 1990s Cray supercomputer. There's all of that performance there. But do they sell it based on the performance? Do they sell it based on the silicon? No, they sell it based on the games. The marketing is all, how can we hide this away? It's all about the content. And we want to go back to that. In some ways, the Raspberry Pi is kind of like the anti-iPad. What we want to do is, we're all about the journey to the content, rather than the content itself and delivering that. We're all about, here is a board you can see. You can see the processor. You can ask questions about it. Here's a command line. It's only going to do anything unless you type commands in. It's not going to say, do you want to do this? It's not going to prompt you. You have to tell it what to do. And you have to actually gain some control and some understanding of what it is that you want it to do. There was a great review of the Raspberry Pi by a magazine recently. And they said, the Raspberry Pi is a great device. The problem with it is that you have to learn too much to use it. That was kind of an interesting review, right? Because that scared me a little bit, that what we've done is missed the entire point. If what you want to do is go and access websites quickly, boot up your laptop. If what you want to do is understand how it is your networking stack might work, how it is you might actually connect a different Wi-Fi device or make a mesh network or do something interesting, then that's where the Raspberry Pi makes sense. The Raspberry Pi is kind of like a digital Lego brick. It's not that exciting in itself. When you buy it, you get this PCB. It won't do anything on its own. You need an operating system. You need an SD card. You need to go and make it things. We have a generation of kids where if you give them Lego bricks, they'll ask them what model they should be building. Right? That's terrifying. We want a generation of kids who you give them Lego bricks and they can instantly see not a pile of Lego, but robots and houses and vehicles. And it's the same with computers. I think we need a generation of kids who, when they see the Raspberry Pi, they don't see a computer. They see a webcam-controlled Nerf gun. They see a rover. They see a remote-controlled car. They see all of these kind of cool projects. Because really, the Raspberry Pi is an empowering device. We're empowering kids by saying, for change from a £20 note, you can buy everything you need, along with all the tools on the internet, to go and make whatever it is you want to do. We're empowering you to do that. There's no reason why just with that initial £19 investment, or £90.33, I think, from Farnell to buy a Model A, you could go and write an app that you put up on the Raspberry Pi App Store or put up online, and make $1 million from it. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. Want to learn Python? Learn Python, the hardware is free online. You want to go and learn C? There's all sorts of C resources online. Anything you want to do, those resources are there. It's all open. That's the great thing about open source. You can play with it, you can change it, you can make it something new. We talk a lot about hackathons now, but the actual meaning of the word hacks kind of lost some of its originality. To hack is to make something, do something it wasn't designed for. It's to make your toaster an alarm clock because you've connected it to something. It's to make your Raspberry Pi a rocket because you've attached a camera and put it on the side of a small rocket engine. It's to make your remote control car a tank that fires Nerf guns. That's what hacking is. Hacking is, instead of just letting Steve Jobs tell us what our computing devices should look like, instead of letting other people tell you you should live your life fitting around these devices, actually is to take control of your life and say, hey, I want devices that do what I want them to do. I don't just want to be a consumer. I want to actually create stuff. I want to change things so they fit me, so that I've actually had some impact in the world around me, rather than just passively going through it, being told what to use. I think that's really important. On that thread, who in here has done something cool with a Raspberry Pi? Who's done a project? OK.
Raspbian counts?
Raspbian definitely counts. It doesn't have to be hardware. It doesn't have to be hardware. One of the great things about the Raspberry Pi is you do get this full breadth from sort of quite hardware-specific projects. I saw someone had made a message passing interface using marbles, which was really cool. So they had two Raspberry Pis, and they had black and white marbles, and they released them as appropriate, and then had just an LED and a light sensor on the other end to detect whether there's a white or black marble. And they were sending binary data with marbles. It doesn't make any sense, but it's awesome. And actually, you can go everything all the way from that end through to making a new operating system. And that's really the power of it. And the important thing is that we don't want people to think that computer science is this abstract thing that isn't useful. Computer science is a tool. Engineering is the art of making stuff. Right? Engineers invented computing because they were too lazy to want to do lots of long calculations by hand. It's just a tool. It's a tool to go and make stuff. And so, I'd really encourage people to go and think like engineers and to think, yeah, the education's important, but what is it we really want to get our kids thinking? I think what we want our kids to think is, I can make things. I can do this. The facilities are available. I take a lot of pride in that what we're doing at Raspberry Pi is allowing university students to go and build their robots or automatic alarm bells or whatever they want to go and build and still have money left over for beer. I think that's quite a noble pursuit, right? And that's really important. So does anyone here have any projects they'd like to shout out what they've done? Someone with a hand up. Anything interesting that we haven't covered yet?
Using a Raspberry Pi to monitor VMware infrastructure.
That's cool. Is that for a commercial setting?
Yes.
Awesome. Has anyone in here done a project just for fun?
Measures my house temperature and sets it on my...
Awesome.
I have some students
students were building a Dalek that patrols the corridors at school.
That's pretty cool. Is it? Are you going to implement the new PyCam when that comes out into it as well? Yes. That feels like a good fit to that one. Yeah. So the PyCams, they do exist, honest. It's not vaporware. I have one on my desk. We received the first 70 sort of alpha builds back. The software stack works. It's pretty cool. We're getting 1080p, 30 frames per second, 5 megapixel images out of that, both raw data and YUV. It's really cool. It's going to really change how some people do their projects. Now it's going to be $25. It means that all of a sudden, using the USB webcams you might be doing at the minute, which are actually taking up a load of overhead on the CPU, you can push all of that to the GPU, get a really nice, H.264 encoded HD video without really breaking a sweat on the ARM. And that means you can use your ARM to go and do some other cool stuff, like basic OpenCV functionality, or some kind of message passing, or whatever it is you want to do. And I think that's going to be really quite awesome. I'm looking forward to see what the community does with them. So that's a good question. So the Broadcom sort of data sheet, effectively, for the Broadcom processor is available. You can get that online. The memory maps, that kind of stuff. I mean, the whole open-close thing is difficult because it's kind of like, where is the line? We're at the point now where all of the user land is open source. We believe we're one of the very few ARM SOCs, if not the only one, Alex, that has a fully open user land. Yes, there are some parts of the GPU that are closed, but there's kind of like a law of diminishing returns there, right?
Is there any NDAs we can sign to get access to that?
Well, this is the problem, right? So you get to the point.
Really, really sorry. Questions we'll save afterwards because people are not going to hear it on the.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Come and find me afterwards. But basically, the answer is that you get to the point where there's so few people who could actually use that information, even if we released it, that there's not really that much benefit. Any other quick questions before I disappear?
The future. Tell us about the future.
Tell us about the future. Everyone always wants to know about the future. And the answer is basically, we like making cool stuff, so we're probably going to continue making cool stuff. We've not all sat down and gone, let's go, cash some checks or something. I don't have any equity. Right, we're doing this because we love it, so we're probably going to continue doing what we're doing.
So you're going to carry on making cool stuff. That sounds cool.
So I wouldn't worry.
Yeah.
We have your back.
So let's show our appreciation for Rob Bishop. Thank you very much.